Welcome to our video on light verbs. Have you ever noticed how some verbs in English seem to pop up everywhere, but don't carry much meaning on their own? These are called light verbs. Light verbs, also known as delexical verbs or semantically weak verbs, are special because they rely on other words, usually nouns or noun phrases, to give them meaning. Instead of describing a unique action, they act as a kind of support, letting the words around them do the heavy lifting. In this video, we'll explore what light verbs are, how they work, and why they're so common in everyday English. Let's dive in and see how these verbs shape our language. Now that you know what light verbs are, let's look at some of the most common ones you'll hear in daily conversation. Words like do, have, make, get, take, and give are classic examples. These verbs appear in countless phrases, but their meaning changes depending on the words they're paired with. For instance, take can mean to shower, nap, or even a break, depending on the context. The flexibility of these verbs makes them essential building blocks in English. As we move forward, keep an ear out for these light verbs in the examples we'll discuss. How exactly do light verbs function in a sentence? The key is that the verb itself doesn't provide much meaning. Instead, it teams up with a noun or noun phrase to create a complete idea. For example, in do your homework, the verb do doesn't tell us much by itself. It's the word homework that gives the phrase its meaning. This pairing is what makes light verbs so versatile. They act as a bridge, connecting actions to objects or ideas, and letting the rest of the sentence fill in the details. See some real-life examples of the light verb do. Think about these sentences. Do your homework, or we did some jumping jacks to warm up. In both cases, do is paired with a noun or noun phrase, homework, and jumping jacks. The verb itself doesn't specify what's being done. It's the other words that complete the meaning. This is why do is so common in instructions and routines. Next time you hear someone say do the dishes or do your best, remember, it's the light verb at work. Moving on, let's talk about have and take. These light verbs are everywhere in English. For example, have something to eat or take a shower. Notice how the verb alone doesn't tell you what's happening. It's the phrase that follows, like something to eat or a shower, that gives the sentence its meaning. You might also hear, she's taking a nap, or do you take sugar in your coffee? These examples show how light verbs adapt to different situations, making them incredibly useful in daily conversation. Let's look at two more light verbs, give and get. You might hear phrases like give me a break, or give your father a kiss. Here, give doesn't mean to physically hand something over, it depends on the noun that follows. Similarly, get appears in sentences like I get so many emails every day, or let's try to get warm by the fire. Again, the meaning of get changes based on what comes next. This flexibility is what makes light verbs so powerful in English communication. Key feature of light verbs is collocation, that is, the way certain words naturally go together. For example, we say make your bed, not do your bed. Or take a shower, not do a shower. These pairings are learned through exposure and practice. Collocations help us sound more natural and fluent in English. By paying attention to which nouns pair with which light verbs, you'll improve your speaking and writing skills. Let's see more examples in the next scene. Here are a few more examples to help you recognize light verbs in action. Stop making such a fuss, or be sure to make your bed after you get up in the morning. In these sentences, make is the light verb, and its meaning depends on the phrase that follows. Notice how the verb itself doesn't describe a specific action. Instead, it's the combination with other words that tells us what's happening. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to use these expressions naturally. Wrap up, light verbs are a fundamental part of English. They might seem simple, but they allow us to express a wide range of ideas with just a few words. By understanding how light verbs work and practicing common collocations, you'll sound more natural and fluent. Remember, it's not the verb alone, but the words you pair it with that create meaning. Keep listening for light verbs in conversations, and soon you'll be using them with confidence. Thanks for watching, and happy learning.